The mining colony of Ceres Station hung like a fragile crystal on the edge of the asteroid belt. Its metal structures reflected the faint light of the sun, turning the station into a glittering beacon in the darkness of space. For years, the humans who lived here had carved their survival out of the cold, unforgiving rocks. Life was simple and dangers were constant, from sudden meteor showers to rogue mining drones. Yet the colonists had grown used to their small routines, taking comfort in each other's presence, sharing stories, laughter, and meals in cramped, humming corridors. That calm existence, however, was about to shatter. A sudden signal on the station's long-range sensors drew the attention of Captain Elias Vorn, the man who led the small crew of miners and engineers. Elias had sharp eyes and a sharper mind, a combination that had kept the station running smoothly through every crisis. Today, his attention was fixed on a blip moving at impossible speed toward Ceres. Unidentified vessel approaching, his sensor officer reported, voice steady but tense. Trajectory indicates direct approach. Speed, beyond known human capabilities. Elias leaned over the console, squinting at the display. The readings were unlike anything he had ever seen. The ship was sleek, silver, almost liquid in shape, and it moved with an elegance that humans could not replicate. "Alert the crew," he said, "and keep all access points secured. I want a full visual as soon as it docks." Minutes later, the vessel arrived with a quiet hum that seemed almost alive. The docking clamps sealed around the station's outer hull and a single airlock opened. From it emerged a figure, walking as if the gravity of the colony were a trivial annoyance. She was tall, with smooth silver skin that shimmered faintly under the station lights. Her eyes were a deep violet, unnervingly intelligent and coldly calculating. She moved with the confidence of someone who had never faced defeat. The humans stared in awe and fear. Whispers rippled through the station like a sudden breeze. "I am Leora," she announced, her voice melodic but sharp. "I have come to observe this quaint experiment called humanity." Elias stepped forward. "You're far from your home. What brings you here?" Leora tilted her head, studying him with a faint smile that carried both amusement and disdain. "Curiosity," she said. "I have traveled across galaxies, seen species rise and fall, and now I have come to witness the peculiar weakness called human spirit." Her words cut through the room like ice. The colonists shifted uneasily, sensing both her power and her scorn. Elias raised an eyebrow. "Weakness?" "Yes," Leora replied smoothly. "You cling to emotions. You form bonds. You laugh, cry, and fight over things that are irrelevant to survival. You are fragile creatures and yet fascinating in your absurdity." The words stung, but the humans held their ground. Some muttered under their breath, others clenched fists, and a few simply stared, mesmerized by her presence. Elias, however, studied her quietly. Beneath her arrogance there was something else, an energy, a curiosity that could be exploited. Humans had always faced the impossible, and they had always adapted. "Very well," Elias said calmly. "If you wish to observe, you may, but don't mistake our size or numbers for weakness. Humans endure in ways you may never understand." Leora laughed softly. It was a sound that seemed to fill the station with both beauty and menace. "We shall see," she said, turning to float down the corridor. Her movements were almost effortless, as if gravity itself obeyed her will. The colonists followed her cautiously, showing her the station's facilities, the mining shafts, the storage bays, and the hydroponic gardens that provided the crew with fresh food. Leora observed everything with detached interest, her eyes scanning every detail, calculating every flaw. "This," she said at last, gesturing to the mining drones in the docking bay, "is your technology?" "Yes," Elias replied. "We rely on it to extract minerals from asteroids. It keeps us safe and efficient." Leora approached one of the drones, touching its sleek metal surface. With a flick of her fingers, the drone powered down completely, as if she had simply willed it to stop. The humans gasped. "Predictable," she said. "Your machines obey you, yet you cannot anticipate true unpredictability. You are fortunate that nothing more dangerous approaches." Her words carried a challenge. The colonists felt their pride sting, but they also felt something else, a spark of determination. For generations, humanity had faced disasters, invasions, and natural threats. They had survived not because of sheer power, but because of resilience, courage, and creativity. Elias stepped closer. "We may not be perfect. We may rely on instincts you consider weakness, but do not underestimate the human capacity to adapt. We survive when others fall, Leora tilted her head, a curious expression crossing her features. Adaptation. Yes, it is an interesting trait, but how long can you endure before your flaws consume you? Before Elias could answer, the station's alarm rang out. Red lights flashed, warning of a disturbance in the outer asteroid belt. The humans moved quickly following their training, while Leora simply floated above them, observing with a faint smile. What is it? She asked, her tone almost casual. Something approaching, Elias said. We're not sure what it is yet. Could be a meteor, could be something else. Leora's eyes glimmered with interest. Let us see how fragile you truly are. The colonists prepared the station's defense systems, their hands moving over consoles with practiced speed. They launched sensor drones into the belt, tracking a faint but rapidly growing signal. Whatever approached was faster than anything humanity had faced. Yet the humans worked together seamlessly, improvising solutions under pressure, covering each other's mistakes, and making split-second decisions that machines could not predict. Leora watched silently, her amusement growing. She had expected chaos, panic, and failure. Instead, she saw humans acting not with cold logic, but with something unpredictable, a combination of fear, hope, and courage that no calculation could fully anticipate. One of the sensor drones returned with the visual feed. The approaching object was massive, metallic, and clearly artificial. Its design was alien, unlike anything humans had ever built. It moved with a purpose that suggested intelligence and intent. Impressive, Leora murmured, her eyes narrowing. You may survive this, or you may not. Either way, your weakness is laid bare for all to see. Elias met her gaze. You may see weakness, but we see opportunity. Humanity thrives not because we are perfect, but because we endure. That is what you do not understand. Leora's expression softened almost imperceptibly. She had not expected to feel anything resembling respect or interest for such fragile creatures. Yet, even as she mocked them, a part of her could not look away from their courage, their determination, and the way they faced danger without hesitation. As the alien object drew closer, the humans braced themselves. They knew the odds were against them. But for the first time, Leora wondered, could these fragile beings truly surprise her? The silence of the station was broken only by the hum of machinery, the soft footsteps of humans moving with purpose, and the faint, unsettling sound of Leora's voice. We shall see, she said once more, almost to herself. We shall see. And in that moment, a new chapter began, not just for the humans of Ceres Station, but for Leora herself. The one who mocked humanity's weakness would soon discover that there was more to desire, courage, and survival than she had ever imagined. The temporary calm over Ceres Station was deceptive. Repairs were underway, and humans moved through the corridors with a mixture of exhaustion and determination. Yet the air was tense. Everyone knew the alien fleet could return at any moment. Leora floated above the station's central hub, her silver form shimmering faintly under the harsh lights. She had spent the last hours observing the humans in ways she had never before permitted herself. Their strength, their unity, and their courage fascinated her. She had mocked their emotions, their bonds, their fragility. Yet now, she could not deny that something vital, something profound, surged from their imperfection. Desire, the desire to protect, to survive, to fight, not for power, but for one another. Captain Elias approached her quietly, not wanting to disturb her thoughts. You've been watching, he said. I am observing, Leora replied, her voice calm yet softer than usual. I did not expect this. Their weaknesses are strengths I cannot measure, and I do not know how to respond. Elias studied her. It's not a question of response. It's understanding. Humans endure because we act from emotion as much as reason. That is our strength, she considered his words. Emotion, desire. It drives them to risk their lives for each other. It is illogical yet effective. Elias nodded. It is more than effective. It is powerful. At that moment, an alert sounded again. A smaller scouting ship from the alien fleet had returned, its purpose clear. Probe the defenses, test the humans' limits. Prepare to intercept, Elias commanded. This time we do not just defend, we strike. Leora followed the humans to the docking bays. Unlike before, she did not merely observe. She moved with purpose, integrating her abilities with theirs. Her speed and precision complemented the humans' creativity and courage. As the alien scout approached, the humans devised an unusual plan. They would lure it into a field of asteroids using the station's limited resources to their advantage. "Are you certain this will work?" Leora asked. Elias smiled faintly. "We adapt. That is our way." The humans launched their plan with meticulous coordination. Leora assisted, disrupting the scout's sensors and diverting its attacks. Yet it was the humans who demonstrated the true ingenuity of their species. Mira, standing on a floating platform, manipulated the station's gravity fields to guide debris into the scout's path. Another engineer rigged an improvised EMP device from the station's emergency circuits. The scout faltered, its shields flickering as humans continued to adapt. Leora's usual detachment began to crack. She had observed civilizations, fleets, and armies in her long life, yet rarely had she seen such bravery, creativity, and cohesion. She found herself drawn to the humans, not in disdain, but in fascination. During the engagement, Elias risked himself to save a young technician pinned by a shifting asteroid fragment. Leora moved to intercept, ready to act with her superior strength. Yet she hesitated. Something in the humans' willingness to risk themselves, their bonds, their courage, stirred something she had never experienced. Desire, not hunger for power, not curiosity alone, but a longing to connect, to be part of what they were achieving. The scout was finally neutralized. The humans had triumphed not by power alone, but through their unpredictability, intuition, and cooperation. Leora floated above them, observing their exhaustion and relief, and realized something profound. The humans' emotions, the very things she had scorned, were the source of a strength she had never accounted for. That night, Leora remained on the observation deck, gazing at the stars. The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly before her, yet her thoughts were consumed by the humans she had witnessed. Their courage, laughter, bonds, and determination haunted her in a way she could not ignore. "They are fragile," she whispered to herself, "yet they endure. They desire, and that desire is formidable." A soft tap on the deck drew her attention. Elias stood there, his expression unreadable. "You've seen enough," he said. "Do you understand what I meant about desire?" Leora's violet eyes met his. "I am beginning to understand. Not in the way your species does, but I feel something. I do not know what it is. Perhaps admiration, perhaps curiosity, perhaps longing." Elias inclined his head slightly. "It is all of those things. Desire can drive action stronger than logic or power. It is why humans endure." Her attention shifted back to the station, where humans moved tirelessly to repair damage and reinforce defenses. She saw their laughter as they worked, the encouragement exchanged between crew members, the small acts of care that she had dismissed as weakness. Each action carried a weight, a power, a strength that no calculation could measure. "Desire," she murmured again. The word felt strange yet compelling. Humans' desire to survive, to protect, to care for one another. It was infectious, stirring something deep within her. The next day brought another challenge. Sensors detected a drifting alien probe, dormant but capable of transmitting intelligence to the main fleet. Elias organized a team to capture it before it could report their defenses. Leora accompanied them, not as a superior overseer, but as an active participant. The humans worked together seamlessly, improvising tools and tactics to capture the probe safely. Leora observed their coordination, noting how they relied on each other's strengths and compensated for weaknesses. They acted from instinct and emotion, yet their results were precise, effective, and inspiring. When the probe was finally secured, the team cheered quietly. Leora felt something unfamiliar, a pulse of satisfaction, a desire to celebrate not for herself but for the humans who had achieved the impossible. She realized she had begun to feel connection, a recognition of the power in their bonds and actions. Later, in the quiet of the station's corridors, Leora approached Elias. "You were right," she said softly. "Weakness is not what I believed. Desire, courage, loyalty, these are strengths." Elias looked at her with calm understanding. "It is more than strength, it is life. It is what makes humans unpredictable, resilient, and enduring." Leora nodded, a small gesture, yet significant. She had come to Ceres Station to mock humanity, to observe weakness, but now she saw the truth. She had begun to understand something she had never felt before, that emotions could empower, that desire could drive action beyond calculation, and that connection could inspire courage stronger than any weapon. As the day ended, she floated above the station, watching the humans settle into rest. Mira laughed quietly with a fellow crew member, repairing a damaged panel with easy camaraderie. Elias reviewed reports and quietly planned for future challenges. Each human moved with purpose, care, and resilience. Leora realized fully that she could not remain indifferent. The human's desires had stirred a longing within her, not merely curiosity, but something deeper. Something she did not yet name: connection, understanding, perhaps even the beginnings of admiration. For the first time, she felt the pull of humanity not as an outsider, but as someone beginning to appreciate their spirit.
She had mocked their weakness.
Yet in their courage, creativity, and desire, she had glimpsed something far stronger than mere physical superiority. And as she drifted silently through the observation deck, Leora understood a profound truth. The human's greatest power lay not in perfection, in strength or in technology, but in the unpredictable force of desire, the courage to act despite fear, and the bonds that made their lives meaningful. For the first time in her long existence, Leora felt drawn toward something she had never experienced: connection, curiosity, and longing, emotions she had always dismissed as weakness. Humanity had begun to teach her a lesson she could not ignore, a lesson that would shape not just her perception, but her actions in the battles yet to come. And in the quiet hum of Ceres Station, amidst lights, machinery, and the soft murmur of human voices, Leora realized that her journey was changing. She had mocked humanity, yet she could no longer deny the truth. Their desire, courage, and spirit were forces even she could not fully comprehend or resist. Ceres Station hummed with activity, its corridors alive with humans preparing for the inevitable. The temporary calm had not lulled anyone into a false sense of security. Everyone knew the alien fleet could return, stronger and more determined than before. But the humans of the station had learned something invaluable. Their strength was not in numbers or technology alone, but in spirit, courage, and desire. Leora observed them silently from the observation deck. She had once mocked them, derided their weakness, and dismissed their emotions as irrelevant. Yet now she saw clearly the unpredictable power that these fragile beings wielded. Each human carried within them a spark she could not extinguish, a force born of care, courage, and an unwavering will to survive. Captain Elias moved among his people, issuing instructions and assisting where needed. His calm demeanor inspired confidence, even when the looming threat seemed impossible to overcome. Mira and the other crew members worked tirelessly, repairing systems, reinforcing defenses, and preparing improvisations to meet whatever challenge might come next. Leora descended quietly to the command hub, her silver form glowing faintly under the station lights. For the first time, she did not move with superiority or mockery. She moved with purpose, driven by a curiosity and desire she had never felt before. Elias looked at her. "You're here," he said simply, knowing the answer to what she felt. "I am," she replied softly. "I have come to understand. Not from above, not as a judge, but as someone willing to see the truth." The truth was clear: humanity's weakness was a lie. Their supposed fragility, emotions, bonds, desire, was their greatest strength. It allowed them to act unpredictably, inspire each other, and endure against forces that logic alone could not defeat. Leora had observed this over days, but now, as the fleet approached again, she would witness it in full measure. The first wave of enemy ships emerged from the darkness of the asteroid belt, massive vessels bristling with weapons. Their intentions were unmistakable: conquest, destruction, and subjugation. "Defensive positions," Elias ordered. "This time we do more than defend." Humans moved with astonishing coordination. They deployed drones, recalibrated shields, and improvised traps using the station's limited resources. Their actions were a blend of calculation and instinct, emotion and reason. Leora joined them, not to lead but to complement their efforts. She intercepted attacks, neutralized enemy targeting systems, and assisted where human ingenuity alone might falter. Yet it was the humans themselves who proved decisive. Mira directed a makeshift network of energy pulses to confuse the alien fleet's sensors. Engineers rigged mining lasers to fire in rapid bursts, exploiting weaknesses the aliens had not anticipated. Even the youngest crew members acted courageously, taking calculated risks to protect others. Leora floated above the chaos, witnessing the combination of determination, creativity, and desire that drove the humans. She felt it herself, a strange longing, a pull of connection to these beings she had once ridiculed. They are remarkable, she whispered. Not because they are perfect, but because they choose to endure, to act, to care. Desire makes them unpredictable. Desire makes them powerful. The battle raged for hours, the humans' resilience stretching to its limits. Yet for every system damaged, they repaired too. For every enemy attack, they found a countermeasure born of ingenuity and instinct. And for every fear they faced, they drew courage from one another, forming bonds that even the alien fleet could not break. At a critical moment, an alien vessel targeted the central reactor. The station would be destroyed if it struck. Elias hesitated only briefly before acting. "We do this together," he said, rallying his team. "Everyone has a role. Trust in each other. Trust in yourselves." Leora watched as the humans executed a daring maneuver. They lured the vessel into a trap, directing it toward an unstable asteroid nearby. With coordinated energy pulses and gravitational manipulation, they disabled its systems. The alien ship drifted helplessly, caught in the humans' improvised but brilliant strategy. For Leora, the moment was revelatory. The humans had no advanced superweapons, no perfect algorithms, no guarantee of success. Yet their courage, creativity, and desire had turned the tide. She realized fully that emotions, connections, and purpose could surpass logic, speed, and strength. The alien fleet withdrew, retreating into the darkness from whence it came. The humans of Ceres Station had survived, battered but unbroken. They cheered quietly, relief mingling with exhaustion. And Leora, observing them, felt a strange warmth, a recognition that she had never experienced before. Elias approached her. "Do you see it now?" he asked. Leora nodded, her violet eyes reflecting the lights of the station. "I do. I see what I could not comprehend before. Weakness is not weakness. Desire, courage, loyalty, they are strength. The human spirit cannot be measured or predicted. It is limitless." She hesitated, her mind struggling to find words for a feeling she had never known. "I came here to mock. I came here to observe, but I have learned something I did not expect. Their power is not in their body, their machines, or their intellect. It is in their hearts, in their willingness to care, to act, to endure." Elias studied her. "That is humanity," he said softly. "We fight, we endure, we survive, not for ourselves alone, but for each other. That is why we are unpredictable. That is why we endure." Leora's silver form shimmered as she considered his words. For the first time, she felt vulnerability, not as weakness, but as connection. Desire, human desire, was contagious. It drew her in, made her consider possibilities she had never allowed herself to imagine. She realized she did not merely want to observe anymore. She wanted to understand, to participate, to be part of something larger than herself. The humans continued their work, repairing damage, strengthening defenses, and sharing quiet laughter in the corridors. Leora moved among them, her presence no longer alien or intimidating, but integrated, subtle, and aware. She assisted where she could, guided when necessary, yet always allowed the humans to shine. Mira noticed her and offered a small, hesitant smile. "You're helping us now," she said. Leora inclined her head slightly. "I am learning," she replied, "and I want to." In that simple exchange, something shifted. Leora realized that mocking humanity had been easy, because she had never understood it. But now, seeing their courage, creativity, and desire in action, she could no longer dismiss them. Their weaknesses had become strengths. Their emotions had become weapons of resilience. Their bonds had become a force that even she, a superior being, could not ignore. As night fell over Ceres Station, the crew gathered in the common area to rest. Leora floated above them, silently observing, but not detached. She watched Elias laugh quietly with Mira, listened to the stories of survival and ingenuity, and felt a strange warmth in her consciousness. Desire, connection, courage, they were no longer abstract concepts. They were alive, palpable, and undeniable. For the first time in her existence, Leora understood humanity, not as a species to observe, judge or mock, but as a force to respect, learn from, and perhaps even admire. She had come to witness weakness, yet she had discovered strength beyond her calculation, a strength rooted in the very heart of humanity. Elias glanced at her across the room. "You've changed," he said softly. "I have," Leora admitted. "I came to mock. I came to observe. But I have learned something I never expected. Humanity is not weak. It is extraordinary. And I wish to understand it further." The humans continued to laugh, work, and care for one another, unaware that their courage and desire had not only saved the station, but had also begun to change the alien who had come to ridicule them. Leora's journey had begun as mockery, but it was ending in understanding, connection, and admiration, a transformation she had never anticipated. For the first time, she felt a desire not for conquest, not for dominance, but for participation, for connection, and for understanding. She realized that strength was not measured in muscle, speed, or technology alone. True power came from courage, unity, and the relentless desire to endure and protect. Ceres Station had survived the day. Humans had triumphed against a superior enemy, not by perfection, but by the unpredictable, unstoppable force of their spirit. And Leora, the one who had mocked humanity's weakness, had discovered the true meaning of desire, an understanding that would forever change her and perhaps forever change the way she viewed the universe. As the stars stretched endlessly beyond the station, Leora floated silently, her mind and heart reflecting on the lesson she had learned. Humanity's strength was not in flawlessness or superiority. It was in their imperfection, their courage, their connection, and their desire. And in witnessing it, she had come to know something far greater than observation. She had come to understand, respect, and even desire the human spirit. The humans rested, unaware of the transformation occurring beside them. And Leora, the alien who had mocked their weakness, remained among them, not as a judge, not as a superior, but as a witness, a participant, and a student of the extraordinary force that is humanity. The stars above Kareth 4 shone brighter than Captain Leora Venn had ever seen. From the bridge of the SS Horizon, she stared through the reinforced viewport, her mind restless. The crew worked quietly around her, checking instruments and adjusting controls, but something in the air felt different. Earlier that day, while scanning the planet's atmosphere for anomalies, Leora had received a strange mental message. At first, she thought it was exhaustion. She had been on duty for over 24 hours, pushing the ship and crew through unknown territory. But the message was too clear to ignore. The sky. It's coming. Be ready. No one else had heard it, and she had chosen not to alarm the crew. It sounded like a human voice, soft yet urgent, echoing inside her mind, as if it had traveled across space and time just to reach her. Leora didn't understand how it was possible, but she felt the weight of the warning deep in her chest. Dr. Elias Kor, the ship's science officer, stepped forward, his eyes scanning the data streaming across the monitors. "Captain, the atmospheric readings are unusual," he said. "There's an energy field forming above the planet. It doesn't match any known pattern. It almost looks like it's alive." Leora's brow furrowed. "Alive? Explain." Elias hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "The energy fluctuates in ways that respond to our instruments, our presence. It's subtle, but there's a pattern. Almost as if it's watching us." Leora swallowed hard. Her mind flashed with the voice again. "The sky. It's watching." She forced herself to stay calm. The crew looked to her for guidance. She had to make a decision before fear spread. "We proceed with caution," she said finally. "I want a full analysis of the atmosphere, and all sensors tuned to detect even the smallest change. I don't know what's happening up there, but we won't ignore it." As the ship orbited Kareth 4, the planet's surface stretched out below, a vast desert of red sand dotted with jagged black rock formations. The horizon shimmered in a strange golden light, flickering as though the air itself were vibrating. Lieutenant Mara Jin, the communications officer, interrupted the silence. "Captain, I'm picking up unusual readings in the upper atmosphere. Electromagnetic pulses. They're rhythmic, almost like a signal." Leora turned to Mara. "Signal? From who?" Mara shook her head. "I don't know yet, but it's not natural. It's not from any known species or object in this sector." The warning in Leora's mind pulsed again, stronger this time. "It's coming. Watch the sky." She felt a chill run down her spine. an instinctual sense that something monumental was about to occur. "Prepare an observation shuttle," Leora ordered. "Elias, Mara, come with me. I want a closer look at this energy field. Everyone else maintain orbit and keep sensors active. If anything changes, I want to know immediately." The shuttle's engines hummed as it detached from the SS horizon. Leora, Elias, and Mara sat in tense silence, watching the planet grow larger beneath them. The atmosphere seemed to shift as they descended, the golden shimmer now stretching into streaks of silver and violet. Elias studied the readings with increasing concern. "Captain, these fluctuations are accelerating. Whatever this is, it's not static. It's expanding." Mara pointed toward the sky. "Look." Through the shuttle's viewport, a tiny crack appeared in the clouds, glowing faintly. It pulsed with energy, widening slowly but deliberately. The edges shimmered like molten glass. Leora felt the psychic warning echo again, urgent and clear. The sky, "It's breaking." Her hands gripped the controls. "Keep the shuttle steady. Do not panic." Elias analyzed that rift. Mara, record everything visually. "We need evidence, no matter what happens." The crack grew faster now, stretching from horizon to horizon in mere seconds. Lightning-like arcs of colored energy danced along its edges, casting shadows across the landscape below. The planet trembled faintly, a warning of the power contained within the sky. Suddenly, the shuttle's instruments went haywire. Alarms blared as the magnetic fields around them shifted violently. Mara struggled with the controls. "The shields! They're destabilizing!" Leora remained calm, relying on training and human intuition. "Manual override now!" She flipped switches, forcing the engines to compensate. The shuttle shook violently, but they held position, hovering on the edge of the expanding rift. Through the chaos, Leora glimpsed something impossible. A structure floating within the rift, enormous and alien. It shimmered in colors that didn't exist in the human spectrum, towers stretching upward like crystalline trees. The shapes seemed to move, almost breathing, as if aware of their presence. Elias gasped. "Captain, that shouldn't exist." The warning in Leora's mind now roared. "Do not approach. But you must see." She closed her eyes for a moment, steadying herself. Humans had faced the unknown before, and this was no different. They were explorers, observers, and problem solvers. "We record it," she said firmly. "We study it. And we survive." The shuttle's systems began to stabilize, the temporary surge of energy subsiding. The rift paused, almost as if it were considering them. Observing the small human vessel, Leora felt a strange connection, a challenge, maybe even a test. The observation shuttle hovered on the edge, and for a few heartbeats there was silence. Then a new alarm went off. This one was different, a psychic pulse that shook the minds of all three aboard the shuttle. The voice was clearer now, unmistakably human, urgent and desperate. "Turn back, or it will consume everything." Leora swallowed hard. She didn't understand how it was possible. But she knew one thing: the rift, the sky, the alien structure, everything was tied to humanity. And somehow humans had been warned before. Back on the SS horizon, the rest of the crew noticed the shuttle's reading spike. Leora's calm voice came over the comms. "All stations, stay alert. We're on the edge of something beyond our understanding. This is not a drill." "Be ready," the crew exchanged uneasy glances. Some whispered prayers. Others silently steeled themselves. Humanity had always survived the impossible, and this was no exception. As the shuttle slowly pulled back toward orbit, Leora kept her eyes on the rift. It pulsed, quivered, and then, as if acknowledging their retreat, it stabilized into a wide, shimmering scar across the sky. Elias broke the silence. "Captain, do you think it's intelligent?" Leora stared at the rift, her heart pounding. "I don't know, but intelligence or not, it's alive, and it's waiting." The warning repeated itself, softer now, almost like a whisper through the static of her mind. "Prepare. It is coming." And then, for a brief moment, the sky above Kareth 4 split wider, revealing a light that no human eyes had ever seen. And the sense of the impossible became undeniable. Leora knew this was only the beginning. Humanity was about to face a test unlike any before, and she, like all humans, would have to rise to meet it. The stars outside seemed to shimmer with a quiet promise, as if the universe itself was watching, waiting to see what humans could do when confronted with the unimaginable. The SS Horizon orbited silently above Kareth 4, its sensors alive with the strange energy emanating from the rift. Captain Leora Venn stood on the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the console. The warning echoed again in her mind. It is coming. Watch the sky. She did not know who or what had sent it, but she felt the urgency as if the universe itself were speaking to her. Dr. Elias Core approached, holding a tablet filled with fluctuating readings. Captain, the energy signature is growing. The rift isn't static, it's expanding. If this continues, the atmosphere could destabilize and the planet below may be in danger. Leora's brow furrowed. How fast? Faster than any calculation allows, Elias admitted. We're seeing changes by the minute. And the readings suggest intelligence. It's reacting to us. Leora's eyes narrowed. Humans had faced the unknown countless times. Stars had collapsed. Rogue asteroids had threatened entire civilizations and alien worlds had tested their courage. But this felt different. This rift was alive and it was watching them. Mara Jin, communications officer, leaned over the console. Captain, I'm picking up more of those distorted signals. They're stronger than before, almost like a warning. And they sound human. Leora's heart raced. Human? That doesn't make sense. Humanity hasn't reached this sector before. Elias shook his head. I don't know. But it's there. I can't explain it scientifically. The warning in Leora's mind pulsed again, urgent and clear. Do not trust what you see, or it will consume everything. She swallowed hard, knowing they had little time. The rift was expanding and humans would have to act. Prepare a shuttle, she ordered. I want a team to approach the rift carefully. Elias, Mara, you're with me. We observe, we record, and we do not engage unless absolutely necessary. The crew worked quickly. The shuttle, small but reinforced, detached from the SS horizon and began its descent toward the planet. The atmosphere shimmered with colors that were impossible to name. Violet arcs of light pulsed through gold and silver clouds, twisting as if reality itself were bending. Elias scanned the energy field. Captain, these patterns, they're responding to our instruments. It's almost like the rift knows we're here. Mara shivered. It's alive, Leora nodded. Humans had faced life before, but humans had also faced death, and often humanity had emerged stronger. We survive, we endure, we adapt. She gripped the controls and led the shuttle closer. Through the viewport, they saw the rift in full form. It stretched across the sky like a scar of pure energy. Within it floated towering structures of light, vast crystalline towers that seemed to twist and breathe. Alien vessels drifted between them, fluid shapes that seemed half organic, half machine. Elias's voice trembled. Captain, those towers, they're enormous. And alive. The energy field is aware of us. The warning echoed again. Do not fail, or all will be lost. Leora felt a strange pull in her mind, almost as if the rift itself were calling to her. She forced herself to focus. Observation first, analysis second. Survival always, keep the shuttle steady, she commanded. Record everything. Focus on the details. Suddenly the rift pulsed violently. The shuttle shook, alarms blaring as the shield strained against the energy surge. Mara gripped the console, eyes wide. It's reacting. Leora's hands moved instinctively, adjusting the engines, stabilizing the shuttle. The light from the rift was blinding, casting shadows that danced across the cockpit. Then as suddenly as it began, the energy surge subsided. The rift pulsed gently, almost curiously as if observing the humans. Through the chaos, Leora saw something impossible. A figure, humanoid but unlike any human, appeared inside the rift. It glowed faintly, patterns of light shifting across its body like liquid. It raised a hand and a wave of energy formed a projection. Images of Earth, of human history. Moments of courage, innovation, and survival. Mara gasped. It's showing human history. But why? Elias whispered. It's testing us. Or teaching us, it's selecting us. The psychic voice returned, louder, more urgent. Do not trust appearances. The sky decides, Leora steadied herself. This is not just a phenomenon. It's intelligent. It knows we're here, and it's sending a message specifically for humans. The shuttle drifted closer, cautious. The figure pulsed again, projecting more images. Humans exploring distant planets, solving impossible problems, facing disasters with courage and ingenuity. The message was clear. Humans were capable, resilient, and perhaps unique in a universe full of unknown forces. Elias adjusted his instruments. Captain, the rift may be a bridge between dimensions or even between times. Its energy patterns suggest it is monitoring us, learning from us. Leora's mind flashed with the warning once more. It will consume everything. We retreat, she said calmly. Gather data, analyze it. But we do not overextend ourselves. The shuttle pulled back, the rift pulsing as if acknowledging their decision. But before they could move far, a surge of energy hit the shuttle. Systems flickered, shields groaned, and for a moment the shuttle drifted uncontrollably. The voice spoke again, unmistakably human this time. Turn back, or it will consume everything. Leora gritted her teeth. She did not flinch. Humans had always faced the impossible and they had survived. This was no different. The shuttle stabilized, systems returning to normal. The rift pulsed gently, its glow calming, but the warning lingered in Leora's mind. She knew it would not remain still for long. Back on the SS Horizon, the crew watched the shuttle's return, anxiety and awe filling the room. Leora entered the command deck, her eyes meeting those of her crew. What have we learned? She asked. Elia spoke first. The rift is intelligent. It reacts to us. It's testing humans, and it may be a doorway to something far beyond our understanding, Mara added, and it warned us. But we don't know why or how it chose us. Leora nodded. Humans have always survived the impossible. We adapt, we endure, we learn. That is what makes us strong. That is why it reached out to us. The crew absorbed her words, inspired. Fear was natural, but humans had always used fear as a tool, not a chain. They would face the rift. They would study it. They would survive. Leora returned to the viewport, staring at the glowing scar in Carathafor's sky. The stars beyond seemed to shimmer with quiet anticipation. Whatever came through that rift, humanity would meet it head-on. We've been warned, she whispered, and we will answer. The rift pulsed faintly as if acknowledging her words. A test had begun and humans were ready to face it.